The two powerhouses in action today, two sides that have 7 World Cup trophies amongst them. But which one of these sides will get their hands on this glittering trophy? Considering it's back in India after 12 years, I don't know, Nez. I think we would know what over 1 billion people might be thinking. As Nez and I have both our world champions amongst our mess, I've got to say, any day of the week, this yellow colour would be a winner in this stadium today. Nez, you got to bleed blue.
I was told it was popular here to wear yellow in Chennai, and I noticed, Mayanti, you say 7 between. Well, I was just counting on the trophy here. 5 for the Aussies, and to my right here, you have 2 as a country. This guy's got 2 on his own. 2-time World Cup champion Shane Watson joins me. Who have you got, Mayanti?
I got 3 world champions here, winners in 9. Quest to dominate the world yet again begins for the men in blue in Chennai. Carrying over 1 billion hopes on 15 shoulders clad in blue. I know any time of the year, usually yellow is the colour that dominates in this stadium. Not today. Today, all the fans here are bleeding blue as that quest begins. And look at us. We've got World Cup winners in the house here from India and Australia on Jindal Panther Cricket Life, powered by Amul. And of course, the big news from the Indian camp, as we have been discussing in our build-up, is that Shubman Gill was not well. He is now officially... There you go, both of them as well. Both these gentlemen have known exactly what it takes to lift that World Cup for Team India. 4 of the 7 wonders of one-day cricket are in action today. And Gothi, when you look back at some of the players for both India and Australia, they've played in World Cups before. You're talking about some players who may not get another opportunity, may not be playing another World Cup in, another 4 years from now. Could this be the perfect swan song for players like a Steve Smith, for players like a Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma, to just kind of stamp the class? They've conquered it when it comes to milestones and personal achievements, but do it for their nations, our polycap players to watch out for.
Looking at the opposition, looking at the batting lineup, Smith plays a massive role because the opposition, the batters...
3 World Cup winners on Jindal Panther Cricket Life powered by Amul, and 3 different key battles that they are looking forward to as well. But Australia has been a nemesis for India for so long, but it brings out the beast mode in them. And Jasprit Bumrah is one who spent over a year making sure he is ready to play this World Cup at home. He'd be... It's not today. Today is the deal that blue dominates. You bleed blue with all the fans that are coming into the stadium to watch India begin their World Cup campaign against one of the most fancied sides in the history of this World Cup, and that being Australia. 2 World Cup winners here. Some World Cup winners are there. The hopes and dreams and ambitions of fans in the stadium with Nashpreet as well, as both these powerhouses look to begin their World Cup.
Makes him quite vulnerable, but I think his inconsistent swing at times makes him dangerous for him on this surface.
Well, that would be a fun contest, wouldn't it?
It'd be interesting to see if he's got the courage to turn around and bat right-handed in a World Cup opener.
Well, you know what? That's actually one of the predictions, but why not? Because when India take on Australia, as we've seen with these 2 gentlemen in the past, it's not necessarily... Well, you want to beat the best, you want to match them toe to toe, and here are 5 reasons we are so excited to watch India taking on Australia in a World Cup. That having now been understanding that they have to field first.
So there'll be nerves in the dressing room, there's no doubt about it, and it's good to have nerves. But once you step out, then all you can control is what you have. Along
with Ravichandran Ashwin, he knows what it takes to win a World Cup at home, as does Gautam Gambhir. We'll never let him forget that he was our man of the final. These fans will not let him forget that as well. But one person we haven't spoken about who in the last year or so, with Jasprit Bumrah recovering, was Mohammad Siraj. The incentive that he's taken, his strike rates in the power play. It's very deep history for both India and Australia when it comes to World Cups, especially with Australia's stellar record here in the Chennai Stadium when it comes to World Cups. But Indian bowlers have done what we expected out of them, walked into a World Cup and said, let's try and spin it to win it. Spinners dominated. Aaron Finch, Gautam Gambhir, World Cup winners in the house here on Jindal Panther Cricket Life, powered by Amul, and that, Gautam, was a power. Continue. Let's have a look at our phone page top stories. Jasprit Bumrah spent over a year getting ready to just be able to bowl in World Cups and ask those probing questions right at the top with Mohammad Siraj. Our thumbs up to funny deliveries. You look at Mitch Marsh, didn't really know what to do with that opening spell initially.
End up getting a lot of wickets, but not letting the opposition go off the hook. And it was always would have been a challenge for Australia, especially in the middle overs. with the 3 spinners. So that was very, very important for our Indian fast bowlers to set the tone straight away, and Bumrah, no one is better than Bumrah to do that.
When you know you've got 3 spinners coming at you as a bowling unit, Finchie, and you know they say fast bowlers like to hunt in pairs, they also like to contain in pairs, put pressure on. Putting pressure back on the spinners, you saw that partnership you mentioned between the experienced hands of David Warner and Steve Smith. That's when a little bit of control, a little bit of understanding of how to
Rotate, there were odd boundaries here and there.
on the world stage to be 2-3 wickets down to end a match like this. And Gauti, you have had some contests with Australia in the past. You know a victory against Australia, that too in a World Cup. You know what a statement has just been made by the men in blue.
Oh, absolutely, pretty clinical as well. For me, more
All but out for 12 if Mitch Marsh takes that catch. It's a very different story now.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think World Cups are won and lost on really fine margins.
200, you've got 3 men already back in the pavilion, but it's a world stage. The world is watching you, and that's when big match players are born. That's when big match players are born who've been there and done that, as Aaron Finch and Gautam Gambhir have done. A Havel-stop performance. Virat Kohli walks out there, knows he's got a stellar record. It's against Australia over 2,000 runs.
So, Finchie, did you admire it from afar?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what's been so clinical about his performance over burnt up the middle of that wicket.
Sustaining that pressure, running those quick singles as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's something that the Aussies struggled throughout their innings. All right, I think we're going to hear from the captains now. Is that what against an old rival like Australia? What does this win actually mean to start your campaign?
I don't know. I need to pick up my WhatsApp messages and go on Twitter and
with T20 cricket, a lot of these new guys wants to keep hitting the ball out of the ground, but that's not going to be easy. Imagine when you're 2-3 down for 2, you can't go out there and hit a long ball. You still be able to absorb the pressure.